Hey, it's Anthony Cumia here, and I'm on the road. I'm here in New York City. It's whipping out free speech. That's what we're doing here, our little weekly podcast that we do. And, coming back to New York every so often, it reinforces that there is such a problem in this city. Just insanity. And the thought that Zohran Mamdani is most likely going to win the mayoral election it really sinks in when you're outside and looking around and seeing what's going on here in New York City, especially after what I guess everyone went through, the big storm. There was a big rainstorm, not a hurricane, but a big rainstorm. And it is proof positive that the New York City infrastructure is shit. It is done, gone. They can't even clear the drains. They can't even make sure that the water coming in on the streets can get drained away into the rivers. I guess that's where it goes in the city. That's where it's supposed to go. But the infrastructure is a disaster. The subways, every time you see the subways, it's just pouring rain underground. I don't know how that works, but it is. That's what it's doing. And, there's plenty of money, and there's been plenty of money for illegals. We've seen that under Mayor Adams. The amount of money that went to illegals being put up in hotels, being fed and clothed, getting health care, all the perks of a sanctuary city like New York City, and nothing for infrastructure, just nothing. So when it rains, the roads flood, the subways flood, houses flood. People die in their apartments. There's a lot of apartments in New York City that are subterranean, basement apartments and whatnot. And it floods. And I guess, if people can't get out, maybe they're old and infirmed, and they're on a sinking ship. I don't think your house should seem like the Titanic when you're trying to maybe go to sleep, and there's a storm and the water comes up and you wind up drowning in your own apartment. And I've seen a lot of Democrats posting videos and pictures of the storm and the result. And a lot of it is, of course, climate change. It's that damn climate change, isn't it? They just don't want to face the fact that the infrastructure has been neglected for so long. It doesn't work, that it just doesn't work. And it's not just the drainage, it's everything. New York City's falling apart, and it has been for a while. And, it's been 11 years, I guess, since Bloomberg was mayor. So 11 years of New York City being run by Democrats. So how does a Democrat complain about a useless, broken down infrastructure and post videos and pictures of flood damage from this rainstorm and blame it on Trump or Republicans or climate change? Again, it's such proof positive that they just will not face reality. They do not take any blame for anything. You run the city. You can't just say, oh, it's the Republicans' fault. It's Trump's fault. You run this city. The Democrats own New York City. Everything that's wrong with it is all yours, Democrats. And, if you want to take credit for what's working in New York, feel free. Feel free to do that too, because it is your city. I can't think of one thing. I can't think of one thing that Democrats have done where they could take credit and go, look what we did. Look at the wonder that we brought to this city. All bad. Crime, I mean, any given day, you could read or go to social media and watch videos of just atrocities taking place in New York City. The violent crime problem, the robberies going on. The Democrats own that. They're in charge. You could, if you're the mayor, you get to appoint a police commissioner. If you appoint a police commissioner that doesn't want to do their job, or you tell them that they're not allowed to actually do their job and arrest criminals, you have prosecutors, Democrat prosecutors in this state, in the whole state and the city, that will not convict criminals. They put him back out on the street. What do you think? Republicans were responsible for no bail, for bail reform and zero bail to let these animals back out on the streets? These are all things Democrats have done, and they have to live with it. And the mind-boggling part of the whole thing is that we have an election in New York City coming up a couple of days, and you're going to vote for Zohran Mamdani. And the only alternative New Yorkers see, if you don't like Zohran, is Andrew Cuomo, another liberal Democrat. He had a lot to do with bail reform and the criminals being let out onto the streets after committing numerous heinous crimes. And they're like, yeah, put him in. We don't want Mamdani. We'll take Cuomo. It's a Democrat. It'll just be 11 years plus 4 more of a Democrat. And what do you think? Cuomo's going to fix the infrastructure? He's already talked about how he wants to put illegals back in hotels, make this the sanctuary city that it is. Mamdani, you've heard that. He wants to do the same thing. And, Curtis, I'm sorry, Curtis doesn't have a chance in hell of winning. And that's on New York. That's on all you voters. I'm just here. I am but a vacationing South Carolinian here in New York City for the weekend. So I don't get to vote. If I did, I would vote for Curtis, but I don't get to vote. And I know it would be, supposedly throwing my vote away, but why should the Republicans, either Curtis or the voters, why should they have to swoop in and save New York City by putting in Andrew Cuomo? New York's got to learn. I'm not saying it's going to be good. I have a lot of friends and family and coworkers in New York City. And the last thing I want to see is them suffering and having to deal with the likes of 4 more years of either Mamdani or Cuomo. But, you kind of put yourselves in this position. I don't know what happened. Years and years ago, how did Giuliani get elected? I understand that was a long time ago. You think back at Giuliani and you go, oh, it seems like that was a long time ago. But how did that happen? I guess Dinkins, an incompetent Democrat mayor, David Dinkins, did such a terrible job. Crime was off the charts under Dinkins. It was some of the highest murder rates in New York City history. So I guess that was enough for people back then. And look, the demographic of New York City was different under Giuliani and under Dinkins. There were more white working class people living in New York City. And now, the Democrats, if it was their grand plan to import foreigners and Democrat voters, third world immigrants. Yeah, that's what they did. And they've voted Democrat, and there doesn't seem to be any solution to it. I think New York, and that's just it, I think New York has to be so bad that the people go, we can't vote for another Democrat. Like what happened with Dinkins. Murders, thousands of them. It was insane. And enough people went, all right, Giuliani's running. Okay. He's running on a tough on crime, tough on murder platform. Yeah, we'll vote for this guy. You think if you just keep voting in Democrats and they keep screwing things up, that eventually people might have some sense and vote a Republican in as mayor of New York City? It only happens if it gets really bad. And I honestly think a Zohran Mamdani mayor of New York City will get really, really bad. The criminal element is just chomping at the bit, waiting for this mayor. And that's off of Adams. I mean, Adams hasn't been this champion of fighting crime. That's for sure. But Mamdani just has a disdain for the very police force that's supposed to be keeping the city safe. He despises them. Don't think his attitude has changed. We heard his video, we've seen his videos, heard what he's had to say about the NYPD. He calls them racist, oppressive, and he has no respect for the NYPD. He's trying to he will try to put in place any alternative to a policeman confronting a criminal that he can. You know, we've heard about the social workers. He wants social workers to go on domestic dispute calls or emotionally disturbed person reports. Any cop will tell you they get shivers up their spine when they get these calls. They are amongst the most dangerous calls they go on. The fact that it's whatever happens is very unexpected. I think when they go on an armed robbery call, they know they're on a call that there could be an armed person, and they go in accordingly. These domestics can be anything. A couple having a spat, or some guy killing his significant other and willing to kill a cop who wants to come in and stop him. So those are some of the most frightening calls that cops go on. And Mamdani thinks a social worker can just go there. Hi, yeah, we want to, get you two back together. He doesn't seem to know the real deal, what's going on and what's necessary to make sure that the citizens of the city are safe. He has no clue. It's obvious. And, the fast free buses, which are going to cost $700 million, which Mamdani says somehow is going to be a $1.4 billion windfall. Spending $700 million on free buses will make New York City $1.4 billion. I don't know what kind of math he's using on that one. I don't know what kind of African abacus he learned as a kid, but I don't see that happening. And that $700 million, maybe use it on some infrastructure in the drainage, sewage, street, the grates on the street so they don't get plugged up when there's a storm and people don't have to walk through diseased water to get where they're going. Maybe that's a better way to spend $700 million, but Mamdani has different plans for that money. And, like I said, I'm just visiting people and I'm taking a look around and it is frightening. And I can't imagine under Zohran Mamdani, it's not going to be even more frightening. And even an Andrew Cuomo, mayor of New York City, I can't imagine it getting any better than we see when we look out right now. Flooded streets, people dying of drowning in their apartments, illegals getting top shelf hotel rooms. But I think it's got to get real bad, just like it did under David Dinkins. It has to get David Dinkins bad before you people understand you need a Giuliani to clean up. All right. I hope you do the right thing, but I don't expect it. Anthony Cumia, we're whipping out free speech. Be sure to catch my radio show Sunday nights, 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time on 77 WABC. Thank you. Have a great rest of your week.